So you've made it a year past D-Day and you think, yay, I'm finally getting there. And then suddenly, wham, like out of nowhere, grief slams into you like a lead brick falling from a 12-story building. Suddenly you're crying all the time. You're angry. And then you start thinking, oh, great, here we go again. I've made the ultimate backslide. What am I going to do now? Have you experienced that? Or have you heard people talk about that? I would like to address why this between 11 and 13 months post D-Day, why this has the potential of being really challenging for some of us. Not all of us, but some of us. So if this is you and you're wondering what's going on and why this is happening, stay tuned. I experienced this after the final D-Day I had, which was early in 2017, right before my husband and I separated the second time. Um, I have that date carved in my mind, February 7th. So February 7th, 2018, um, it started around month 11. It was somewhere in January, I started to feel it. I don't know if you can identify with this. I I was very preoccupied, and honestly, I wasn't thinking about the affair. It's not that I was having intrusive thoughts all the time, although that came later. It more started out as just a general blah. Now, this was January, so I remember I blamed it on the fact it was winter. You've heard of the blues or, winter blues. I just kind of thought, oh, I have that, or the seasonal thing, whatever they call. And thought, oh, that's it. This must be what it is. I blew it off. But then the closer I got to February 7th, that's when grief overtook me. And that's when the intrusive thoughts really started coming in. I started having very vivid memories of what my life was, because I found out about the affair in January, but he moved out on February 7th. That's why February 7th is ingrained in my mind. But so I would remember each day, and Facebook memories were, because I knew exactly what was happening in my world. Thankfully, I didn't post much during that time, so I didn't have to worry about that. But I remember vividly those things, and they came back to me in this flush. I had horrible dreams every single night. I would get very sensitive and get my feelings hurt. Honestly, I don't think it was until I think it was President's Day weekend. It was after February 7th of that following year when my husband finally just said, "What is going on with you? Something's not right." He was correct. Something was not right. And we had a very long, good heart to heart about it. And I realized what was happening with me. And this is what I want to share with you. If you've ever lost someone to death, and all the firsts that came after that, their birthday, Mother's or Father's Day, if it was a parent, Christmas, Thanksgiving, things like that, anniversaries, if it was a spouse, those first special days hurt. They hurt a lot. Because grief, what all grief is, well, not all, but I don't want to make it sound flippant, but grief itself, the purpose of it is to acknowledge a loss. It's your way of dealing with something very important to you that you have lost, and you don't get it back. So it's almost like you have this vacancy, this hole and it hurts. So grief is your way of processing that pain. And it's great because it takes you through stages, right? So that you don't have to experience all of it at one time, which would drive us all. I think we would all go mentally insane if we had to feel everything at one time. So the way our bodies are designed, which is just a beautiful thing, is that we process it in stages. So grief itself, because it's the way we process a loss, is anytime we're reminded of that loss, again, birthdays, anniversaries, things like that, we feel that loss more so than we would any other time or day. So grief steps back into the saddle and goes up, up, up. We're dealing with that loss again. Hang on, I got you. And helps us deal with it as we're feeling it. It's actually a good thing. It's not a bad thing. And don't worry, if you did not experience this on your 1-year anniversary after D-Day, it's okay. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. But those of us who do and have experienced this, just want you to know you're not crazy. You have not had a huge backslide. I know I've heard that word, like, oh, I just feel like I did all that work and I did so I was doing so great. And then that hit. And I'm like, no, you're not back at ground zero. I promise. This is just a time for you to pause. Just pause. Just feel it. Sit with that discomfort. Acknowledge the loss. For me, because February 7th was actually when he moved out, the kids were at school. And so he moved out. It was a Tuesday. The kids were at school and he moved out so that they wouldn't have to be there when he moved out. And I was at work. So he did it all when none of us were there. Coming home that day, I still feel it in my core. Seeing his closet empty. The kids coming home, he took some furniture. So the kids came home to an empty living room. There was no living room furniture. We still had our family room furniture, but the living room furniture was gone. And so they were devastated by that. I mean, that's a huge loss. My kids lost a lot. I lost a lot. We have to acknowledge it. And sitting with that, even talking about that memory right now, making this video, is very uncomfortable. It does not feel good because it reminds me of that gaping hole that will never be filled. I can't get that time back. I can't do anything to take away what happened. It's there. You can't change it. So grief says, hey, hang on, I got you. Let me come step alongside you and let's help you process that in a healthy way. So if this is happening to you right now, I invite you to embrace it. Hug it. Sit with it. Ponder it. It's okay if you're uncomfortable. You'll be all right. Just sit with it for a little bit and see if that doesn't help you process this a little bit better. So that, my friend, is what's going on months 11 through 13. What's going on is that we are experiencing grief because our loss is being, highlighted. Our loss is being poked because we're reminded. That date reminds us, okay? You may experience this also, not just D-Day anniversaries, but wedding anniversaries, birthdays, special times, special holidays you would celebrate together, Valentine's Day, whatever it may be. When you feel it coming on, don't fight it. Don't fight it. Just sit with the discomfort. See if that doesn't help you process it a little bit better. So that's what's happening. So if you're wondering, am I going crazy? No, you're not going crazy. You're a human being who's been hurt and devastated and traumatized. So this is your body's way of helping you. So I embrace it. That's what happens to me. I embrace it. I love it. I feel it. And no matter how uncomfortable it is, I appreciate that the process isn't been put in place in my DNA to be able to process it that way. So, I know it's not easy. I know none of this, hearing all of this probably is triggering, and I do apologize to you for that, but that is our reality. And it does get better. And I do hope that's a helpful tip for you if you are experiencing a D-Day anniversary. Now, no matter where you are in affair recovery, if you're looking for someone to help continue to guide you through it, it took me years to get through of course I did. I had multiple D-Days, but it took me years to get to this place. And this is a good place where I'm at right now. And if you're looking for someone to walk that journey with you and to help you along the way, I'd love to talk to you about coaching. If you're interested and you want to know more, right below this video is a link to make an appointment with me on my calendar. Reach out. Let's talk. It's an hour long. It's free. I even do a little bit of coaching while I have you there. My goal is to be helpful. It really is. And I talk about my coaching, what I offer and how I can be helpful and of service to you during this time of recovery, but no obligation whatsoever. So if you're interested in talking to me about that, I encourage you to reach out. I hope you do. And in the meantime, just remember what we talked about. Okay. If you have an anniversary coming up, it's okay. It's okay. Welcome the opportunity to process, to sit with it. Welcome it. It's not a bad thing. Okay. I promise.